Handheld game systems have been around for many years, and they're great because you can play them anywhere. Whether you like the newer systems like the DSi or the PSP, or you prefer to go retro, there's plenty to choose from. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the ones that I own. Coleco Head-to-Head Baseball. These single game handhelds were pretty popular in the 80s. This one's 1 or 2 player. When you're the pitcher, you have the option to mess with your buddy and throw fastballs or curveballs. I'm playing against the computer right now. It's actually pretty hard. I'm going to go ahead and edit out all the parts where I'm getting owned. The Atari Touch Me came out in 1978. It's a Simon clone and it's nothing special, but it was Atari's first handheld. Nolan Bushnell was such a pervert. The Merlin was also made in 1978. It's lights and sounds and 6 crappy games in one. What should we play? How about tic-tac-toe? I win! Blip. It was made by Tommy, and it's kind of a tennis game. So, I'm going to do 1 player. You serve, and then you got to hit the button that you think the ball is going to go to. It's easier to just smash them all down, though. The Microvision, made by Milton Bradley. It's only got a single dial, and that's how you control all the games. Simple games like bowling and tennis. The faceplate comes off, and that's your cartridge. This was the first handheld system ever to have interchangeable cartridges. This is Blockbuster. It was the pack-in game, and it's just like Breakout, except harder. Crap. Yeah. Crap. Tiger Electronics is responsible for a good percentage of the really low-end video games. This is the kind of stuff that your elderly neighbor buys you for Christmas. She sees it in the bargain bin at Kmart and she's like, "Oh, Billy likes video games." Little did she know it's going to end up in your dumpster faster than your dying Christmas tree. Then Tiger decided to try their hand at a real game system with interchangeable cartridges. The resulting act of terrorism was dubbed Gamecom. It had a touchscreen, and there were 2 cartridge slots on the side in case you really wanted to punish yourself. It was horrible, the games were horrible, and thankfully it didn't last. Tiger also made the R-Zone. You strapped it to your head and it projected an image onto a reflective lens. Here, Master Chief, you suffer. I don't recommend playing with it outside. The original Game Boy came out in 1989. It's a classic. Great library of games. My only complaints, it wasn't backlit and it wasn't color. I know it was 1989, but the Atari Lynx came out in 1989 too, and it was backlit in color. Then they came out with a smaller version called the Game Boy Pocket. It took less batteries. Then they came out with the Game Boy Light, only in Japan though. It's a lot like the Pocket, but you flip the switch a second time and it lights up like a 90s Casio wristwatch. And finally, in 1998, they came out with the Game Boy Color. It was a really good system, had a new library of games and could play the old ones, and it was in color, but still not backlit. Then they came out with the Game Boy Advance, had its own library of games, and of course it was in color, but still not backlit. So finally they came out with the Game Boy Advance SP, and holy crap, it's backlit. It's a great system, clamshell design to protect the screen, love it. Then in 2005 they released the Game Boy Micro. Played Game Boy Advance games, had a really nice bright screen, but it was just too small, so it wasn't very successful. The Atari Lynx. This one's a Model 2. Had a bright color screen and some decent games. You know what's cool about this system? It was ambidextrous. Press a button and you can flip it over and play lefty. It's like a video game stranger. The Sega Nomad. It's big, black, and beautiful. You don't come across them too often. It's actually just a portable Sega Genesis. Had a controller port on the bottom for 2-player games, and AV out on the top so you could plug it into a TV. The Sega Game Gear is one of my favorite systems. It had a lot of great games, it was backlit and color, and it had cool adapters. This one lets you play Sega Master System games, but they're kind of hard to see on this little screen. It also had a TV adapter. This antenna is like 5 miles long. Finally get to watch my Spanish soap operas. Maybe someday I'll review some of these systems in a little more depth, but for now it's off to the thrift store to see what other kind of junk I can pick up.